So we got up early today, and we are getting on a catamaran to take us to the Salvation Islands. It's called La Roulotte, and it is right over there. So come with me and let's explore. So I've just been filled in. There are basically 3 Salvation Islands, and we are going to just 2 of them. So first we're going to the Eel Royale, which is the biggest of the 3, and then we're going to the Eel Sanju Zip, and there's one other one, I think it's called Eel du Diablo, and we can't go there, it's small, so we're just going to visit the 2, and all 3 of these islands used to be basically a penitentiary for France. So France would send their bad people here, and then they wanted stories to come back home of how badly they were treated, tropical disease, how other prisoners killed others, and so on. And the story of Papillon, which is a real life story, this guy was actually imprisoned in 1931 and wrongfully convicted of murder. He escaped a few times all over the region, and he wrote about it in his book. I read his book quite a while ago, and that was gripping. So now I'm gonna explore it. So these islands are about, I think, 11 kilometers away from shore, which doesn't sound that far, but I guess it's far enough to make it pretty difficult for people to swim back. Quite possible that they are shark-infested waters as well. I'm not going to test it today. So this is the island that we're not going to, and that up ahead is the little house that the politician Dreyfus was in. Alright, so we were just dropped off at Eel Royale, which is the biggest one of the Salvation Islands, and just gonna see what they have here. These days they have a hotel, restaurant, but this used to be, yeah, basically a penitentiary. So far from paradise. Brutal conditions, tropical disease, backstabbing prisoners, and stuff like that. So arriving here on this island, you know, it looks like it would have been a tropical holiday for these prisoners 100 years ago. Or actually even 60, 70 years ago still. I think they only closed it in 1953. And yeah, someone told me that all the lush tree life that you see here wasn't there at the time, that it was a lot more just rocky. And well, it's warm, of course. And it's similar to, I guess, Alcatraz or Robben Island in South Africa, where it's close enough that people could, or prisoners could see the mainland and the city there, yet they can't get there because it's too far with dangerous currents and all that kind of fun stuff. It's a sad story, but this cemetery is called the Children's Cemetery because there was such a high mortality rate on this island. They had to open a cemetery, which is this one here, and all these graves are basically from between 1880 and 1942 and are mostly children. Some of the actual keepers of the island and staff and stuff like that were buried on one of the other 2 islands. So here we're coming up to some of the older buildings from when this place was still a prison. Yeah, we just walked into an area where the buildings on this island are. That one is pretty old. This one, well, you can just kind of see the facade. It's just overgrown and falling apart. One thing they have here, which I doubt they had in the 1800s, is a helicopter pad. Cool. Right next to the helicopter pad is the old military hospital, which is the brown building, and it used to have a lighthouse on top of it until 1899 when they removed it and built a brand new one. Let me show you a bit better. So here we have the old military hospital and the lighthouse right beside it. It's interesting as this place almost looks like a prison because it has bars everywhere. I don't know, maybe they didn't want the patients to escape or something like that. That's possible. Let's have a look. So here we're on the entrance to the medical hospital. It's not that much we can film, but I guess this was just the hallway with all the rooms, main hallway. So this hospital was basically built in the 1860s to replace the medical wooden huts that they had up until that time. Looks like this has been an improvement. It's a very cool building. But we haven't found a prison yet. Oh, I do see the church. Of course, any respectable island needs to have a church. So I think this might have been an even older church than the one that they still have. There don't seem to be any signs here, but it is very clearly a ruin. So I still haven't seen any signs of what the actual penitentiary was, but it might be coming up right here. So this stuff behind me was actually the warden's family's places and stuff like that. The warden and all the other staff. And this is the disciplinary camp. This is where they housed really difficult prisoners. Right over here. And right in the middle there, that's where they would set up the guillotine for executions. I guess all the other prisoners could see or hear it happen. So this is all the disciplinary camp. You see these 4 paths here. These were used to help stabilize the guillotine before they executed people. And all those guys, the tough guys, were housed here in little cells. And here on the left, where you see the doors, that was death row. And here, not sure exactly what this area is, but these might have been cells too at some point, who knows. And this area here was basically death row. The convicts convicted to death. Looks like these used to be 2 cells, but this has come down. Yeah, I'm not sure how many people were convicted to death here, but it doesn't look like a very happy place. There you go, that was their cell for the last little bit until they were taken out here and executed by means of guillotine. So it looks like this place was not even that big for prisoners. It's like I just shared here behind me were the difficult ones and the ones sentenced to death. And then we walk into this building, and here where the actual cells are for the regular inmates, which were, by the way, already the bad guys that they sent here from France. So these are where the cells were. Let's have a look. So this is one of the cells. I guess that was a bed, and that was about it. You can barely walk around here. It is literally 1, 2, 3 little steps on to the next one. And they had 20, 30 of them here, I suppose. Guess they all had doors like this guy here. So the guards and the staff, they just lived here. Places like this, you know, looks kind of cute, actually. Always a lot better than being a prisoner. But it was right next to the prison block, basically. But this is what it looks like. All right, I think we've explored most of this stuff here. I feel like I'm walking through Paris, by the way, but it's Ile Royale, former prison island. In case you're wondering what we're filming, look at this amazing peacock sitting here on the ledge. Look at this guy. Hey, buddy. Yeah, you're quite something. Oh, look at this guy peacocking over here. Wow. Oh yeah, thank you for the show. Look at this guy. He's really showing off his feathers, isn't he? He's showing off for the lady, I think. There's a lot of these peacock babies around here. Here's 4 altogether just hanging out. 5. Hey guys, how's it going? All right, I'll leave you guys alone again. Here's just a top view of one of the smaller islands with just the tip of the dock where we're going back to later again. So this here is the pad of a former communications building. Obviously 150 years ago they didn't have internet and stuff like that, so they used signals to signal with the mainland of Kourou, which is 11 kilometers away, where they had a similar building. So now we're on our way to the Convict's swimming pool. I doubt it was actually a pool, but I guess this is where they could chill out a little bit. It's the first prison I've ever heard of that has a pool. Well, the stairs goes down here, so it's low tide right now. Pretty fancy. Oh, there's a little lizard. And this was the pool. If all goes well, I can walk around the island, so that's what we're gonna do. So we just have a bit of a sign here, guys, that kind of shows, you see the big picture, how few trees there were back in those days. That was 1884. A few years ago. Now, look at what we're looking at. Oh, a little bit further. There are trees everywhere, and it looks like a proper tropical island. I don't know why exactly that's the case, but apparently they had way fewer trees 100 and almost 50 years ago. So the convict pool was actually built for the security, for the prison guards, and they had to wall it off because of, you know, the enormous amount of sharks that they had here at the time, and that was partially caused because they had a butcher shop here, so they threw all the waste in the water. And then on the second term, they actually allowed the prisoners in there to chill out from time to time as well. It's a little bit hard to see from over here. It's on the other end of the rocks there, but that's what it was. And then the next little building, which is this ruin, there used to be an actual cable car that would go from here, this building, all the way across to the island over there. Because it was hard to do this with a little boat, as there's a little boat going there, because of the currents and the waves crashing into the rocks. So we found another ruin here. Doesn't say what it was. We just have walls on these two sides because when we walk a little bit this way, we can see it's even held up by wood on the outside. It's just studded a little. And here you can kind of see, I guess this was the entrance. And this is what was left of whatever this building was. Right now it's bush. That is Kourou in the distance. And this is the next island we're gonna check out. Some old walls here. And we have monkeys. Just hiding by a building a little bit because it started raining. Kind of the Dutch way, so not just a monsoon, just drizzling a little bit. And we're waiting for the catamaran to pick us up and take us to the next island. All right, we're now on the second island called Eel Sanju Zip, St. Joseph. And they have some really overgrown buildings here. So let's go on an adventure and get inside here. So this obviously is a building that is just a tiny little bit overgrown. I mean, seriously, look at this. There's an entire tree in this room. It's mushy. There's tree everywhere. Let's go this way. I guess these are the actual prison cells, or were the prison cells a long time ago. Let's go the other side and check it out. Here's one other person there in the distance. And here, this was one little cell with bars at the top too. So I'm standing in one of these former cells, and as you can see, actual trees are growing through. Well, actually, these are the roots. You can see the tree up top. It's been a while since this has been abandoned. So the prison continues here. Well, actually, I don't even know exactly what goes on. This looks like this is on the outside. I mean, look at this. It's just quite insane. They didn't bother to pave anything, so it's just muddy and muggy. And there's just tree growth everywhere. So here, we have another little hallway, and we have one of these little beasts running away. Not sure where we're going here. Look at this. There's actually a tree right in the middle of the hallway. So imagine how long this has been abandoned. Well, it looks like we have a corner to the right. Oh wow, look at this. I guess that's the roof that came down. And now we're just walking back again this way. All right, just to give you an idea of how long this place has been abandoned. I mean, we're gonna step inside. Look at the size of this tree. That is inside this building. Well, we have to circumvent the next island, and this is the path around it. I thought I was on my way, but then I all of a sudden ended up where I had started. Literally on the edge of the island. Be fun to ride here actually, but I didn't bring the bike. The bike is safely in Kourou by my hotel. But this would have been fun. Then again, we would have been done in 5 minutes. Wow, this looks pretty cool. Maybe not the beach to go suntan on because of all these rocks, but I'm on Eel Sanju Zip, and over there is Eel Royal, and over there is Eel Diablo. So we're just going on the two islands today. Once I get around to the corner over there, I have circumvented the whole island, and then we'll slowly get back on the catamaran and head back to Kourou. But it sure is beautiful. Such a cool place. Yet I'm so happy I'm not in prison here. That would definitely be not pleasant. Seeing the cells, how small they are. I've just been walking around here and I'm sweating and I just want to shower. And I guess when you're in prison, you do not get showers on command. Definitely not 150 years ago. From the beach, straight to the cemetery, where we are getting into. Quite a bit bigger. And by the looks of it, quite old as well. I just walked in here to just kind of have a look, and it looks like this grave right here is from 1894. So they're quite old. I mean, most of the ones that you see here are not even marked at all. So who knows? Now what's kind of hilarious is that this little pool area right there was full of people just half an hour ago. 30, 50 people. And now everybody has left because they have to get to the boats. Me too, I just walk a little bit faster. So this is the little pool area. And my question that I have for you guys, as you can see, there is no rocks in the pool area. So, were those just removed? Or did the French put all the other rocks everywhere else to make it more difficult to escape from this island? That is my question for you. I definitely want my own deserted island, and I want it with all these rocks that you see over both of my shoulders. I mean, look at this. Just, well, I wouldn't call it ancient, but it's old. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the end of the Salvation Island tour.